everybody, it's Sharon coming to you live from Susan's Orchards. It's been a while. You seem like you're 8 miles away, Mike. I don't know. So finally, we have our sweet corn. Yay! Here it is. We picked a whole bunch this morning. We have bicolor and we have white. The two kinds of corns are called Allure and Madawaset. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it correctly. Judy just got drafted. She's one of our regular customers. If she wants to chime in on her favorite corn here or
I tend to mix them up, but
great idea.
My favorite is the white corn, but it doesn't really matter. They're picked fresh. I come in every day, grab them, stick them in the pot. It is crispy and good. You will not get sweeter. You don't even need butter or sugar or salt.
Yeah.
So good.
Awesome, thank you, Judy. But that's great advice. People always come in when we have two kinds and they go, which one's sweeter? And then this whole debate, depending on who's around the corn bin, will ensue where, you know, one camp says this one camp says this one, and the other camp is like, I just get both. And I always tell people, get both and blindfold yourself and see what you like better. Because you just never know. I think it's more of a texture thing rather than a sweet versus not, or less sweet. It's both sweet corn. So, I don't want to hold you up. I'm going to talk some more stuff.
Thank you.
But you can hang out if you want to hang out.
Okay, it's all right.
You got questions for Judy? Or you want to give Judy a thumbs up right here for some love? Go ahead. We love Judy. She's a regular.
Come to Susan's. It is great. Buy local.
Yay! So, I was just looking up fun sweet corn facts, and we'll do some tips and tricks as well. So, if you go out and you're driving out in the country, out in these parts, you'll see really, really tall corn along, you know, maybe both sides of the road. That's field corn. It's completely different than sweet corn. All right, don't pull over and pick ears of that and try to eat it. You're not going to be happy. That's designed for cows. So sweet corn was a chance mutation that was found about 1,000 years ago. So sweet corn's been around a really long time. Where it's a different setup with the sugar and the starch in the corn. So we grow a corn called sugar enhanced. It's called SE corn. I pulled out the Seedway book, so you can see there's pages and pages and pages of corn in here. There's all my dad's notes about this corn and that corn. You know, the seed catalog always tells you that every single corn is the best corn you're ever going to have in your entire life, but it just totally depends on what kind of growing conditions you have, how much time you have, etc. So we have tended to stay with the same few varieties that we really, really like. This concept of Silver Queen, that's kind of what everybody knows white corn to be. That seed doesn't really exist anymore. There is Silver King, and I forget, I think we might get that next year, but we grow a bunch of different varieties that have been really good to us over the past few years, so really you can't go wrong. One of the things about SE corn, if you want to be a corn snob, which we encourage of course, is that it's a corn that we select for flavor really, as opposed to a super sweet. So that's what you're going to find in the supermarket. You'll find those ears of corn with really big kernels. And they last a long time, and that's what supermarkets want. They want to buy one tractor trailer load, it arrives on Monday, they sell it all week. So that's not how we operate. We want to, you know, have something that's just so amazing. However, we have to go out and pick it on a regular basis, and we may not have the yields of a super sweet, etc. in the storage life. So when you come in and get corn, like Judy said, she comes every single day. You want to use it as soon as possible. I tell people to leave it in the husk. The husk is protecting the kernels and keeping them from dehydrating as well as getting smashed. Once you take it out of the husk, it's pretty delicate stuff. So just like most produce, it wants to be cold and it wants to be damp. So keep it in the bag, keep it in the fridge, use it that night, the next day on the outside. It's so much better when you use it soon because the sugars are converting to starches as soon as you pick it off the plant. So if anybody's been following us on Facebook, we've had a lot of critter issues this year. Last year we had a group of turkeys that came along, and right after my dad put a whole bunch of seed in the ground, which is not cheap and takes a bunch of time, a bunch of turkeys came and just like went along and ate all the seed up. So we were down there, Rick was down there this morning again at 6 a.m. to disturb any kind of wildlife that's down there. But we have foxes, we have deer, we have raccoons who are very adept. Some of them are like this big, and they come along and they like just pull the whole stalk down, and then they chomp away. And we believe we have a bear as well, because there's been a ton of damage, just way more than those smaller critters might do. So we're dealing with that, but we're hopeful that we've been down there way more, and now that we're down there picking, hopefully the disturbances will kind of keep those critters at bay so that we can have some corn, because, you know, we grew it for us. We didn't grow it for the critters. So I talked about how to store it. Sometimes corn gets a bad rap now. I mean, that's been going on for a few years, but sweet corn is high in vitamin C, vitamin A, thiamine, if I'm saying that right, that's a B vitamin, potassium, antioxidants. It is actually quite good for you, and of course fiber. There's only 90 calories in an ear. We always recommend people, you know, you do not need to cook this like crazy, okay? You can eat it raw, and maybe I'll eat one raw at the end of the video instead of trying to do that now and talk through it. Boil the water, no sugar, no salt. Boil the water, throw it in for 3 minutes. That's all you need. Just heat it up, that's all you're doing. Butter, salt, whatever you want to do. There's a million things you can do. I see all these recipes in, you know, whatever, magazines online, and they're putting all this junk on the corn. It's like, when you have really, really good corn, you don't need all that other stuff. Like, it's just hiding the really good corn flavor. So if you go and get some not so great corn elsewhere, maybe you want to do that. So we're doing a 50 ear special, so we have a bunch. So $15, 50 ears. You can totally take it off the ears and freeze it. And that's fun to have like really good homegrown corn in the winter, and when we can't get that. And I was just going to show a couple, you know, there's always going to be some damage. So Mike's going to show some of this. It's going to come up. This is bird damage, right? Where the birds just came and started chomping on the ear of corn. Oh, and actually, this is pollination damage. So corn is self-pollinated, right? The male parts, the tassel, travel to the female parts, which are the silks, right? All of these guys. Every silk represents a kernel. So if you get a dry spell during pollination, this is what happens. You get weird kernel formation and you get missing kernels. It's not going to change the flavor. I come in and I find people have husked an ear of corn and it's got one little kernel out of place and they leave it in the bin, and that's just ridiculous. Like, there's no need to discriminate against kernels that are not perfect, right? We're all about acceptance these days. And then of course there's going to be some worm damage here and there. We try not to spray. If you don't spray, you're going to end up with the moths come through and they drop their eggs and then they birth into the wormy guys and then they start eating the top of the ear. So this too is like perfectly fine if you just took this and went chop, but I know some people like freak out about that a little bit, which we understand. It's not a big deal. So if you have some corn questions, let me know. Give us some thumbs up. This ran a little long. I'm sorry. Whoever stayed in there, I appreciate it. And we have tons of vegetables coming in as well. Zucchini, eggplant, cucumbers, curvy cukes, tomatoes. Picked a bunch of tomatoes yesterday. We actually have some heirlooms we need to put out. So all that good stuff's coming in. There's no reason not to be eating fresh, amazing produce every night at this point. And we started picking apples too. So thank you for watching. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some love. We'll check back with you soon. And thanks for coming out. We're open every day, 9 to 6.